is going on, everybody? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever applies. It's good to be back. We had a great time at the Pro Tour and the calling, obviously. It's an amazing weekend. Uh, Nothing but positive things to say. Um, yeah. So for the schedule for the stream today, I got a couple things lined up. One, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the weekend. Um, just going to, kind of go over thoughts, how I did as a player and what I could have done better, things like that. Um, just overall recap of the weekend. It's been like 5-10 minutes doing that. Then we're gonna hop into the main subject of the stream, which is gonna be comparing kind of mathematically, but it's super simple, I promise. It's not going to be overly complicated. I'm just using like graphs to show just very simple graphs to show consistency versus high roll is the idea of the stream. And it was a once I do the recap, it'll make sense of why we're doing this today. It was a thought that came to me and wanted to dig into it, and I think a lot of people will get a lot of value from it, and that's ultimately why I'm here. So we're going to do that. And then to cap it off, we're going to go over my Briar list that I brought to Pro Tour and the Calling in Baltimore. And we're going to play some games with it. Just as a smooth way to close out the night. So that's what we got planned so far. Bravo consistently beats me up. Yeah, it can be rough. That's for sure. Basically, back-to-back spinals, crippling, depending on what deck you're playing. It can be very challenging. But that's some of the stuff we're gonna go over. Are things like that. Ray, good to see you, man. It's been a hot minute, Ray. Good to see you, man. Justin, what's up? All right, so like I said, we're gonna go over recap of the weekend, just real short, 5-10 minutes, easy. And then we're going to go over high roll versus consistency, close out with some Briar games, going over my PT and calling list. Another thing that we're going to do is we are going to, let's just hop straight into it. Why not? Let's go with let's go and roll with the weekend. Okay. So those of you who don't know, I was a little distracted. I heard something and threw me off for a second there. Sorry about that. Also, while we're going over the high roll and consistency graphs and stuff, I highly encourage, if you're one of those people that just kind of listen more than watch, that's one thing that you're gonna want to really make sure that you're really going to want to. Sorry, let's turn the autofocus off. You're really gonna want to like pay attention. You're gonna get the maximum amount of value from that part. But the rest of it, business as usual. Okay, so I played in the Pro Tour. Obviously, that's why I went to Baltimore. I earned my invite by winning 2 ProQuest. So I went there. Had the deck selected. I felt perfectly, fine. In CC draft, I was feeling a little worried, a little underprepared, if you will. But so the day started. I went 2-2 in the CC portion, so off to a not great start, but then closed out 2-1 on the draft with Dagan White beating me the last round to win the pod. Those of you who know Dagan's an amazing player. And yeah, he took that one down. So I ended the day 4-3, which is good enough to make day 2. I made the decision to play the calling, and this is the thought process. I sat there with Josh for a while talking about it and understanding the thought process. Well, my thought process was I'm currently like 60th ish in global elo for constructed, and typically your invite for worlds comes from top 50. So although you get more elo from an event, a pro tour event is rated at 62, 64k, I believe, is the modifier for the elo, while a calling level is 32k. Okay, and that just means like how much you lose. That's all it is. It's the multiplier that's applied to it. Um, so with that being said, I I wanted to make an elo play to get closer to the invite for worlds, right? And the calling being more spread out would reduce the variance of have, because if you have a bad matchup in the CC portion of day 2, then that's like enough to almost offset the last 3 rounds. Um, but yeah, so I decided to play the calling, and I went there that morning, and I started the day 1 and 2. Not ideal. Um, but then I told myself I really didn't want to play Blitz. I didn't want to play the battle hard. I'm not a Blitz guy. It's just not my thing. So I told myself I wasn't going to lose any more matches, and I proceeded to win 9 in a row, while eventually losing the winning in to Zach Bunn. Ultimately finishing 10 and 3, landing 15th at the calling. So it was top 16, good enough for $500 at the calling. So had a strong finish there. It was my 6th top 20 finish at a calling or higher level event. So I've had a lot of cashes. I just keep coming up short just a little bit. Yeah, 1 and 2. Yeah. So that started 1 and 2, but then won 9 in a row for the actual elo play, right? Um, so yeah, that is a recap of the weekend. Also, before I go any further, I have to say, over the weekend, what made this weekend way more different than any other Flesh and Blood event, for the better. It was the first weekend where, I had been doing the streaming for a while, and been producing more content and things like that. Um, and over the course of the weekend, I literally counted each and every one of you. I counted 57 people that came up to me and said, "Thank you for the content. You know, I really enjoy the streams, things like that." And I just want to say thank you so much if you're one of those 57. It means the world. It's huge. Some of the best the most common feedback that I got was people loved the way that I talked through plays and kind of like vocalized my logic and rationale in the plays that I make and why I make them. So I'm going to try to do more of that because that's what people seem to enjoy. So thank you if you did come up to me and say that you appreciate the content, because it really does mean the world. I really do appreciate it. One runic. Yeah, I got messed up by that one runic, but it was kind of my fault too. I think I started blocking a little early. What's up, Damien? What's up, Will? Any unbanned list unbanned list thoughts? That's pretty funny. So for um, bro, when you went for that Sonata against me in round 2, is that you, Taylor? We played round 2, right? But as far as the ban list announcement, it's what I thought was going to happen. I would like a Lexi hit, like a small one, but I didn't think it was going to happen. Her conversion was a little good, I think, depending on what the data says. Um, but yeah, so I am curious what her top 32 conversion is in both the calling and the pro tour, and if it's not that high, then it's justified not to do a ban. A ban. I completely agree. Um, Also, it feels a little weird to like have James White come out and say Rangers are going to be good, and then as soon as they're good, they knock them back down, kind of thing. So I understand we as players need to grow and adapt and come up with good plans against Lexi. That's just what we need to do. Oh, Kevin. Oh, so you're talking about round 2 of the PT. Yeah, the Sonata was good, but I tell you what was even better than that Sonata. It was that turn 1 chill you played. So, yeah, that turn 1 Kevin won the die roll. He was on Icelander and I was on Briar, of course, and he dropped an Insidious Chill. And I immediately thought, well, the matchup just went to like 90-10 in his favor. So, um, yeah. As far as matchup spreads, if you guys were wondering, I brought I brought Briar this weekend to target Oldham. Out of, I kid you not, 17 rounds of CC, I played one. Played one Oldham, and I didn't even win it. I played against Michael. I would have a stroke saying his last name. The Canadian guy. He's like number 4 in ELO constructed. He top 8 at Indy. Canadian guy. Super great player. But my deck just fell apart. I sonated for 6 cards and completely whiffed while I had a channel my heroic out. It was just everything that could have went bad, went bad. Yeah, played a great game against Taylor Crawford. We battled for the last name, and he gets to keep it for now. He had an amazing performance as well. He ended up top 8ing the calling, so he beat me and made something of it. But yeah, so I played one Icelander, one Oldham, one Viscerai, 2 Dromai, 2 or 3 Bravo, an Azalea, 5 or 6 Lexis. Like Jim was not nice this weekend, but overall, in all CC added together, I ended up going 12-5 was my total record, including the calling and the PT combined. So with bad gym pairings, I'm pretty okay with that. I think that is acceptable. Acceptable, we'll put it that way. There was a couple spots where I could have played a little tighter. 2 to be exact that just come to mind. I could have blocked better at the end of mine and Zach's game. And then it was actually the game that me and Taylor played. He had burned snaps a little early. I mean, it was like a good play. It wasn't like that he misplayed or anything. But I noticed that he used snaps on the earlier end, and he threw a heat seeker. And typically, you can get Lexi jammed up by letting the heat seeker hit. And I went through with that play, but then presented damage, which doesn't make sense because then he's just going to block out and throw 1 arrow. So in that event, you should block as much as you can and let them brick and present a small clap back is what should happen. But his other face down card ended up being a premeditate, so it didn't matter. But that was still an inefficiency on my end that I shouldn't be doing. I couldn't think of anything meaningful to say at Baltimore that wasn't "How's your match going?" I'll be the next meetup. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was a great event. I had a blast. Yeah, it was just fun all around. The team had a good time. Yeah, it was great. And then shout out to Michael Fang for taking down the Pro Tour. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. We've been seeing Michael Fang go around the Battle Hardens, just killing it, and also just a really nice guy. Like him and Brody both. If you ever sit down and talk to them, they're just really great people in general. So Mara did fantastic. Super stoked about that. So many great players getting exactly what they deserve. Absolutely. Am I planning on going to Pittsburgh? Um, no, no, it's just too far for a Battle Harden. Um, Fang and Blood, yeah. All right. So that kind of covers up the recap overall. It's a great weekend. Um, no complaints. The event was ran very well by Star City Games. Um, I guess the only bad thing was we didn't get the location for Worlds like we thought we were. But I mean, we know that that's not, there's a lot of things that are just outside of LSS's control. Um, you know, they can't. They're obviously having to go through what is it? Um, something.eu. What's that company that does the tournament organization? They're the ones that have to secure the venue basically because they're going to be running it. So it could be something on their end or whatever. We don't know. So not holding that against LSS in any way. It's just unfortunate that we didn't get it, but I'm sure we'll get it soon. No big deal. Outsider sealed, battle hardened at that. Yeah. Nope, I'm not going that far to play sealed. Just to do Powers area. Highlight of my weekend was Josh's face after I told him I got lethal in the dory with a dominated battering bolt for 9. Yeah, that's disgusting because all those reactions, you strip them and make them discard them and deal a damage. That's insane. Insane. All right. So, this is the introduction to the topic. Why am I talking about high roll versus consistency? Well, we were on the way back from an event. It wasn't this most recent event, it was another event. And I was talking with Josh. And I threw out the idea I threw out the question of why do people play decks that high roll? Because high roll comes at a cost, right? Typically, when a deck has the potential to high roll, there are equal lows. It's not always the case, right? I would say like a deck like Lexi would be an exception to that because like she's pretty consistent, but then she just hits her Rain Razors or Three of a Kind and just kind of jumps up. But she can still have an all red hand, which is kind of a dip down. But overall she has more high than she does low. But we just kind of chatted about it, and that thought came to me after this weekend on the flight back, and I came up with a way to visualize what high roll actually means. We say high roll, but do we really know what that term is indicative of and like what it actually translates to? And I thought I came up with a great way. You guys will be the one to tell me whether it's good or not. But I will go ahead and go over to show everybody. I'm going to explain what bringing a deck that can high roll does and what axis you're operating on when you do so. And I'm going to do it by just showing you a line. That's all I'm going to do. Okay? And I promise this will make sense. It's not complicated. I promise. It's super simple. You just got to approach it with an open mind, right? So, what do these lines mean? Okay? So we're going to say that on the scale from 1 right here to 10 is what skill level you're at. Okay, you're a 1 out of 10 player, you're a 10 out of 10 player, Hamilton, Fang up here, brand new player down here, right? And that's going to be represented by this orange line. Okay? So currently what I have graphed here is an 8 out of 10 player. A very solid, strong player, right? That's what I have currently graphed. Okay. Now, this is a great way that you can visualize what a consistent deck does versus a high roller deck. Okay. So we are going to use an example of Oldham. Okay. We're going to say that this line right here represents the maximum high roll and the lowest low roll that can occur within an Oldham match, right? So as an example, right up here would be, all the Rouse of the Ancients line up, your CNC Pummel lines up, but here you draw 4 reds, right? Like that's the min max there. Okay. Now, here would be an example of a deck like Briar, right? This is what Briar would look like, right? Because this is still your starting point, but you can shoot all the way up here because Channel Mount Heroic Force of Nature just wins the game instantly, right? But then you draw all non-attacks and you can't do anything while you have full tempo, and you just give up tempo for absolutely no cost, and that's down here. Okay? So all we're doing is we're looking at waves to represent the minimum, the floor of a deck and the ceiling of a deck. Not as far as like skill, but just what's the best thing and what's the worst thing that can happen within a stack of cards. Okay? And I'm going to try to explain real quick why you should or shouldn't play a high roll deck versus a consistent deck. Okay? So let's get started with it. Let's first talk about what makes a high roll deck high rolling. Okay, we're going to come back to this graph real quick. I'm going to bring up a little thing, a little tier list that I made. We're the chart guys for a reason, right? And I kind of made just a real quick, just took a couple seconds to make this real quick, and to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, Icelander, right? 45 cards in her deck are blue, right? So she leans super consistent, right? Because the only thing that can happen is like she can draw all red hands, but like mathematically that is very, very low chance, right? And if that does happen, a lot of her stuff blocks for 3 if she gets a bad hand, or she can. It's a very maneuverable deck, right? Same thing for Oldham. The blues do a lot. It's basically an all red hand is the only like bad hand. Dash, everything blocks 3. You can always default to blocking. You have plenty of blues. You don't really need any one thing to have a turn. You can always default to the weapon. Lexi has really low lows, but she can be explosive. So I would still this is a caveat. I would say that this is fuseless Lexi. Now, if you were to say Ice Lexi, I'd move her here. Okay? Now, but we're going to assume fuseless because I believe that's the best version of the deck. But, we can debate that, sure. Dromai, all the cards are red, right? Except for a couple blues, right? So there's not, other than like not having Ash, which you did that to yourself earlier in the game, more than likely, unless it's turn 0. Like the only bad thing that can happen is you have no Ash and draw like all red hands, right? Or all dragons, right? So like she obviously has bad hands, but most of them block 3, so she can still actually get a certain amount of value out of them. And most of her hands are extremely playable. Same thing for the assassins. Everything blocks 3. You don't have really explosive turns, right? You'll notice that most of these decks are not very explosive, or if they are explosive, it's not at a cost like Lexi. And, Dash isn't twiddling her thumbs while she's waiting for high octane, right? She just gets it. She has a great turn. She goes back to her normal game plan. Same thing for Lexi and 3 of a Con. Okay. Here we start approaching the middle ground. Azalea operates on a ratio of non-attacks, aka pumps, and arrows. You can draw a hand of all pumps, right? Or all arrows, and they are probably equally bad, right? I guess technically all arrows is a little better because you at least have something to do. But why is Azalea? Because rune blades operate on the exact same premise, right? They operate typically on close to a 30-30 split between non-attacks and attacks. But why are they in high roll and Azalea is in the middle ground? Well, the answer to that question is the ratio, right? Rune blades have to operate on a 30-30. Azalea can modify and also has multiple ways to look. She has cross wraps to look for an extra card. She has more looks to find that card that she needs. So she has smoothing capabilities, if you will. Whereas we will look at Bravo, right? Bravo can draw that all blue hand. It happens. But his blues, you can do something with his blues. Like he can still throw a cranial crush. It's not the end of the world, right? It's not ideal. But that's why he's middle. He's not high roll. He's not super consistent. He's just kind of in there. Now, Kano's the tough one. If you're in like one of those long matches like with Oldham, then Kano's super consistent because it's just up to you as a player to pitch stack what you need and execute it. But so Kano kind of operates in all three tiers based off of how quick the match is. If the match is very slow, it's consistent. If it's middle, it's middle. And if he's up against aggro, it's high rolling. He needs to find the combo quick, right? Dory, she's super mid-rangey. She picks her spots, right? Nothing else needs to be said. Riptide is kind of finicky because he plays like almost all red deck, typically. But there's some inconsistencies with traps and your opponent realizing what's in your arsenal or not. So it's kind of like the inconsistencies are applied to the opponent, not the actual player. Levia, did you draw a way to, she's pretty consistent when she's operating on her game plan, but, sometimes she can just not draw a way to banish 6 attacks from the graveyard, and then you just die, right? Then we get to the high roll decks, right? We have the Rune Blades. Like I said, you can draw all non-attacks, all attacks. You can deal 30 damage in a turn out of nowhere. It comes with the territory. Rhinar. I put him in high roll because I assume you're on the claw build, but if you go to club, it's super consistent, right? It just depends on which version you're playing. Claws, you're in high roll because all your power revolves around Blood Rush Bellow, right? So you are high rolling the game if you see it, and you are low rolling if you don't. Bolton, it's a standard combo deck, right? He needs to see the combo quicker rather than later, okay? For 5, especially after Belittle, if we still had Belittle, he would actually be a pretty consistent deck, maybe middle ground. But because he operates on a lower blue count, you can brick pretty hard, and that would put him in the high roll category. Same thing for Katsu. You ever seen an all red Katsu and what it doesn't do? That's all you need to know. Okay, so we'll go back to this. And why do I want to talk about high roll versus consistency? Okay, let's pretend that you as a player are in the top 80 percentile of FAB players, right? So this would represent you as a as a player. This orange line, this is where you are at at a skill level as a Flesh and Blood player. Now remember, our scale is from 1 to 10, right? This is Michael Hamilton, Michael Fang, anybody else named Michael apparently, and then 1 is brand new player, right? We're going to assume that the person in this example is an 8 out of 10. Very solid, strong player, right? Hardened cross straps can fix it once. Can fix it once. And it comes at a cost, right? It comes at an opportunity cost. No block in the armor, no tunic. You know, anytime you have to add something and pay a I'm about a 3. Well, and that's a great point, Justin. When I go over this, if you apply it to yourself, it's very important that you be as honest with yourself as possible, because it's going to be very important at the end of the discussion when all this makes sense, right? Because it'll just make sense. I promise, guaranteed, or your money back. Okay, so once again, you're an 8 out of 10 player. Now, let's say that you're taking Briar to an event, okay? And we're going to say that this is an accurate line for Briar, okay? The way to read this graph, okay, is being an 8 out of 10 player, theoretically, no matter what set of cards you draw as a Briar player, if you're at this percent of player, you should be able to beat a 2 out of 10 player. No matter what you draw, you could brick twice completely, and you should still beat a brand new player, right? That's pretty accurate from probably what you've seen at an armory. We've all been there, where we show up, we were brand new to the game, we show up to an armory, we got our butt kicked 20 weeks in a row, and then we finally started understanding the game. That's a good example, okay? But the most important thing that I'm going to show you here is this part right here. When you bring a high roll deck like Briar, right, you can lose to a 3 out of 10 player. You can lose to a 4 out of 10 player. You can lose to a 5 and keep going, right? Because you can do this bad, this bad, this bad, this bad on the standard variants within the game, right? Because we play a card game. It would be straight line on top of straight line if it was a game like chess, and you would have Magnus up here and then everybody else down here, right? Because there's literally 0 variance in chess, right? But we have it's a card game. So this is when everything goes right in the game. This is when everything goes wrong. Okay. Here's the most important part. Okay, we said our scale stopped at a 10 out of 10 player, right? The best in the world. So what is the point of this? What is the point of this part right here? Well, chat, this is waste. What this means is that because you brought a deck that has such a high roll potential and such a low roll potential, that you're not even getting all of the value from the high roll. Because, like, a good example of this is, like, if you play somebody that's slightly better than you, a 9 out of 10, but you high roll all the way up here, you didn't need that. You could have played, aka a consistent deck like Oldhim, right? This would represent an Oldhim deck where you have a lot lower lows, or higher lows and lower highs, but you can still beat the 10 out of 10 player as long as you're an 8. That's the important part. You have to be honest with yourself where you are at as a player. Okay, now let's go back down to the Briar example. But let's say you're a 5 out of 10 player. You're just average, right? Nothing wrong with that. Yes, absolutely. That was a great point. This also assumes that, there's two sides of this, right? So if we were being 100% mathematically accurate, we would take the high roll of our deck plus the roll of the other deck and cancel them out, right? Because one person can high roll and the other person can also high roll, and you just take the difference, right? But it's much easier to not show that, right? Um, but we are assuming that we're only looking at one side of the story. But yes, to be 100%. And so if we're playing a deck like Briar, but we're an exceptionally average player at 5 out of 10, then we can still beat the best of the best if we high roll, right? It's not going to happen often, but we can do it. But at the same time, we can literally lose to anybody. So the point that I wanted to make to people was, if you're a really strong player, I think it's very bad EV to bring a high roll deck. It's something that I'm learning as a player. And it's basically revolving around this right here being considered waste, right? Because theoretically, if you were to play a deck like Oldham, as an example, if you're an 8 out of 10 player, theoretically, you should never lose to a 5 out of 10 player. Assuming this graph was accurate, right? Obviously, it's not perfect. I'm just using this as an example. But you're not sacrificing anything up here. You can still beat the best, right? But you're losing to a lot less. Now, so far from this discussion, it kind of seems like I'm probably just like dogging on, just dogging on high roll decks, and that's not the case. When is it appropriate to actually play a high roll deck? Well, let's say that life is getting in the way and you are less prepared for an event. That would be a great time to consider, right? So let's say you're normally at a 8 out of 10, but for a specific event, maybe you haven't had time to practice, maybe you're busy. And absolutely, this is exactly why you see Hamilton on the consistent decks. Okay? And then look at this most recent one, right? Like, he still did great. He top 32, but he didn't win it. I'm not saying that that's because he played Lexi. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that every tournament he's taken down, it has been on a consistent deck. Because if you look at, right, let's use Hamilton as example, right? He's a 10, sorry. He is definitely a 10 player, right? And he plays decks like Oldham. So this would be the Michael Hamilton example, right? You could give him a ham sandwich and he's not going to lose to any 7 out of 10 player. You have to be an 8 out of 10 player to have a chance if he's on a consistent deck. But if he was to play Briar or a deck like it, you could be a 5 out of 10 and beat him. And all of this up here is just waste because there's nobody up here. There's the best, and everybody else is down here. So that was the main point that I wanted to portray, that I think would actually give people value from taking certain decks to events or not. Something that I've recently learned as a player, especially being a Runeblade main. And it's not bad. But if let's say you're an 8 out of 10 player, but you're underprepared due to life, work, whatever. So for an event, you're a 5 out of 10 player. Well, then it makes sense to bring a high rolling deck because you actually maximize on all of that value. Okay. And a great example of this, look at Hayden Dale at PT2. Nobody in this chat could say Hayden Dale's a bad player, right? But he brought Briar, and he even said it during one of his podcasts that he saw Channel like in 2 games out of all the games he played, right? So that just means his average, draws were down here. But if you would have put a deck like Oldham in his hands and he was still just as skilled of a player, he would have lost 2 or 3 less games. I guarantee it. Well, that's the beauty of it, Justin. If you're a 3, if you're a 3, then the inverse actually happens. Then there's actually no cost to running a high roll deck. If you're a new player, then there's only upside, right? You theoretically could be beating people that you have no business beating, right? And this would be waste, but there's nobody down here, and it's on your side, right? Brendan asks, so with this knowledge, why did you bring Briar to the PT? Is the list less high roll? Yes. We're going to get into the list right after this, probably in like less than 5 minutes, and we're going to play some games. But you will see that the deck is not predicated just on Mount Heroic. I have a blocking strategy built within the deck. It's much more defensive to reduce that variance. But it still has variance associated with Briar. You can still draw all 9 attacks, all attacks. Mine and Taylor's game, I had played a Channel Mount Heroic and then drew up in all 9 attacks, and ultimately, what cost me the game. But that's what happens, right? So yeah, that's just an idea that I wanted to present to everybody. If you ever think about bringing a high roll deck, think about what you're giving up on either end. If it's on this end, it doesn't matter, right? Because you're actually gaining a benefit here. But if you're a very strong player, you just don't need it, is the main point. You really just don't need it, is the main idea. Okay? Now, once again, to go over very quickly, what is high roll? I'm talking decks that have hard ratios like attacks, non-attacks, low blue counts, but still need blues to have optimum turns, like FAB. It's a good example of that. Any ninja, really. You have combo decks. All your power revolves around one set of cards, and if they're in the bottom part of your cards, then, that's just how it is. That is high roll, or high variance is another way of saying that. Okay, so now we are going to go over the Briar list. Sorry if the math bored everybody. It wasn't even really math, but just graphs and stuff. But okay, so this is the Briar list that I took to the Pro Tour and the calling. The only difference is that I took the only difference between these two lists, between the calling and the Pro Tour, was for the Pro Tour I was on 1 Exude, 3 Host, and for the calling I was on 2 and 2, as you see here. Okay. Now, what are some big standout cards that you don't see a lot? Obviously, so a 3rd Earthlore Surge is something that you don't see in a lot of Briar decks. Most decks operate on 2. The thought process behind that card was I decreased my Earth blue count in the blue slot by adding Sift and 3 This Round's on Me as the resource cards that block 4. So I had to find a way to edge in a little bit more Earth. For the sake of Bramble, you can also pitch one of these blues plus this card to play Channel Mount Heroic and then Rosetta. So it still serves a purpose. Then you have Pulse. Pulse is another card that you don't see in a lot of lists, and it's for the same reasons. I'm trying to up my 3-block non-attacks, mainly for the Lexi match, and just to give you an idea of how well this deck did into the Lexis. I was 4-2 into Lexi over the weekend, so I was, and the 2 Lexi losses were Taylor Crawford, which top 8 of the calling, and then Shane Martin, part of the Runaways, were the 2 Lexi losses. And yeah, so Sift also, like I said earlier, was I reduced the Earth Blue count. I took out like Weave Earth, just upping the non-attack 3 blocks. Now, the next one is Come to Fight. Everybody's probably eyeing the Come to Fight. So the idea here was, once again, the whole strategy for Lexi. This is what it boils down to. Hopefully, when we play some Tower Shark games, we'll run into it. All your 90% of your turns, you're just throwing a 0 for 4, and then you're blocking as efficiently as you possibly can. Think the Oldham fatigue strategy, right? Trying to fatigue Lexi, but you're not, because we all know you can't fatigue Lexi, especially with Briar. What you can do is have them worried about fatigue. So play it out, right? You see this Briar deck, and half of their non-attacks are all 4 blocks, and they're efficiently covering up your arrows. As a Lexi player, what are you forced to do? As a Lexi player, you have to start setting up big turns, right? Well, when you set up big turns against Oldham, he's going to like throw a cranial crush or throw a spinal at worst, right? Like, there's not anything like super bad that can happen when you're setting up against the Oldham. Or if there is, there's only a few of them, right? But the second the Lexi starts setting up in the Briar match, they get blown out by Bramble Spark, into Exudes, Channel Mount Heroics, so you're just blocking, waiting for them to take a step back to set up, and then you put on a lot of pressure, and you establish a lot of tempo that way. And that's the idea of the match, and it works very, very well. So I have 2 Come to Fights in the sideboard, and they mainly come in place of the Earth War Surges to increase the block count within the deck. And we have 2 unmovables for the Bravo and Azalea match, and Dory as well. We have this for the Rangers and the Ninjas. This is obviously the patented anti-fatigue tech. And yeah, this is the list. So we will go ahead and hop into some games. Why not? Also, if anybody doesn't know, the Banner Restricted announcement is out. There was no changes in Classic Constructed. Only change was they unbanned Drone of Brutality in Blitz. And then also everything that was attached to Icelander and Oldham is now unbanned. So you can play Hypothermia in Lexi, and you can play Crown of Seeds in Briar in Blitz. So yeah, in case anybody didn't know that information. So here is our Briar deck. Okay, we have a Azalea straight off the rip. I do like to go second on this one. It is a little risky, but I think it's worth it. You kind of want to take the edge in tempo and go from there. See what I'm talking about, guys? High roll decks. Oh, man. This was my weekend, y'all. This was it. Exactly. It's a little risky, but you start with tempo, maintain that embodiment. It's super important. Absolutely. Hopefully she fires an arrow. That would be ideal. Okay, I didn't want that. Jesus Christ. So normally I would not block with the Sink Blow because because I would want to set it, but because Seek and Destroy is going to be active, we might as well go ahead and increase our odds of getting a attack. So we're going to block with the Sink and get rid of the Sow tomorrow because it's the least important piece in the equation. So this is a very unfortunate start, but it's okay. We can stabilize. Okay, so now we're just trying to present as much damage as we can. Which also reducing the amount of damage we take from Remorseless, preferably. So we kind of just want to go here. Take a damage, unfortunately. Very, very bad start to get hit with that arrow, specifically. We need an unmovable for shelter. Sure, why not another blue? Okay, now the question is, do we send 5 and take 1, which is a net of 4, or do we pitch, make a rune chant, send 3? Unfortunately, we have to send the 5 because it's just a higher net. And it gets this card out of our deck, which we don't hate. Okay, there's our beautiful card that we've been waiting on. We are going to rely on this card a lot. Hopefully we don't have to play it this turn. I would love to block with these 2 cards, play this one and arsenal this one, but we will see. Heat Seeker's a big one. With New Horizons, Azalea does not ever get punished by that. She can just say, okay, I'll fire the other one and go from there. Okay, so this works out. Let's see, we have Premeditate attached to this, so I think we probably just go ahead and give it up here. If I'm being honest, we want to stop the Premeditate, so we'll go ahead and give here, and then we'll play the unmovable. And because we blocked with this Autumn's Touch, the Sotomar is live, so we are going to elect to keep that one. And we'll arsenal it. Okay, so we denied the Ponder, so still off an arsenal. And we'll just maintain embodiment. Is the idea. So we're actually in a very good spot here. We have embodiment. We have a little bit of tempo. We're just kind of seeing. We have 2 Remorseless out of the deck. Or is that the same one? Oh, he were Memorial Grounded. Okay, I did not know that. I didn't see that. But we're still in good shape. With E-Strike in hand, this is a hand where we can take a red in the ledger and present something, decent. So we are in a great spot here. Barbed Undertow, he would call blue in this situation, which is a trap. So we don't actually care about this one, right? When it hits a hero, choose red, yellow, or blue until the start of the turn. They can't pitch cards that choose a color. So they will elect blue, which doesn't affect us because we don't have a blue. So we take these all day. They will select blue to stop the Channel Mount Heroic play. Unless they're stream sniping. And then they do red because who would ever do that? Cannot pitch 3 resources. Yep, so they called blue, which is what they should have done. And it doesn't affect me at all. So we're going to go ahead and do this so tomorrow. Off the tunic counter. We'll put this on the bottom. We'll draw a card. Okay, still no worries here because we can sync that with the E-Strike. No big deal at all. We'll definitely Nimblism. No reason not to. Create that embodiment of lightning. Now we have a couple choices. We can go 7 and 7, or we can, because we know that this wants to go in Arsenal. That's just a given. We really want this to go in Arsenal. Another thing that we can do is we can go ahead and pressure with snaps here. We can do draw a card here, sinking this round's on me. I kind of like that play because we need to shorten this game as much as possible, is the idea. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and E-strike, sinking this, electing to draw a card. It'll go again from the embodiment of lightning, coming in for 8 off the nimblism. And then after this, what we can do is we can play the snatch, snap it, and then pitch the infectious host for the Rosetta. Is kind of what I'm thinking. Getting snaps gone this early is perfectly fine in this match, especially because we've seen so many attacks. Our ratio is slightly off. We've seen a lot of attacks. If you see a lot of attacks, you don't typically need... Good. We got that card out. All right, this is on top, so it does deal with damage. That's okay. We'll go ahead and snap this. No reason not to. And then we'll go ahead and get our value by pitching our red. For those of you who just came in, the reason I sunk the blue instead of keeping it for the Make a Rune Chant Rosetta is I'm under the effects of Barbed Undertone, can't pitch blue cards. So we have a life lead. We have amazing amount of tempo here. We drew the nuts. Okay, this does not have dominate. So in this event, what we are going to elect to do is we are going to play value here. This is actually kind of tough. This is actually kind of tough because I want to cover this up, but I want this to go in Arsenal, but this is an effect, so I can't sit on this. So we're forced to give up the mountain here, which is okay. We'll stop the immediate value. And then we'll throw our 2 attacks. One of them is slightly diminished. That's okay. But then we'll gain security. So there goes our embodiment. We're going to throw another 4. And we're still sitting. Okay. So if he presents a giant arrow, this is the beautiful thing about unmoves. Let's say he red ledgers for 10 dominate. I can't play these cards anyway, so I don't mind pitching 3 reds to unmovable. That's the beautiful part about it. In this event, he is just throwing a giant, literal giant attack out. With Blood Rot, Lace, and Seek and Destroy, we can block 3/3/3. He's at... This is actually kind of tough because he's at 12. I really want this to stay. So if I block 3/3/3 and 2, that's 11. Could give Crown. Super risky because I'm really high on my attack count in the graveyard. It actually could just be appropriate to block to block 2 and then crown, hoping for a blue, but that's really risky. Like, really risky? Tough call. Tough call. We won't be able to tune it counter to CNC efficiently. I think we're going to play it slow. This does get us off a embodiment, but that's pretty okay. Here goes the Spire. We got a pretty good hand depending on what comes off. E-strike for 7's always an option. Okay. All right, so we got the red for 11. So what we're going to do is we are going to sink, hopefully draw blue, get rid of the exude, or we'll get rid of the swarming because it's the least relevant. If we draw the blue, we can completely cover it up. Okay, and then from here, we basically probably just win the game. We're going to do 4 here to maintain the embodiment, deny any D-react. And then Arsenal the E-strike for brick security. We have a knock, which means it's probably going to be something along the lines of a red ledger. Yep. And it'll come in for more, but we have the E-strike planted for it, so we really don't give a shit, if I'm being frank. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take advantage of the 4 block here. And then we'll just go ahead and E-strike for 7. So gaining back some tempo. Just try and manage the game. Block efficiently. All we need is like 1 or 2 windows where we shut down with D-reacts, and that's more than enough. More than enough. And once we get the New Horizons, the versatility of this deck really shuts down. And so we have the embodiment. He's on a 2-card hand on Sandscour, which is pretty bad. And we can punish here. Especially if we have a red on top. So no matter how this goes, we can go Rabble, Rabble, Pitch, Tunic, CNC. If he has an arsenal, if he doesn't have an arsenal, we can play Bramble, Rabble, Rabble, Tunic, Sword, Arsenal, CNC. We have a lot of options here. I don't particularly care about this, to be honest. Because he's never getting a full hand again. So we'll just eat this. And then we'll go with the original plan. Hopefully we have a red on top. Be super unfortunate if we didn't. That sucks. But we are so far ahead, I think it's actually okay. So we missed on all 3 rabbles. We hit blues. Okay. So number 1 blocking priority is going to be the CNC. If we would have had a red on top for the rabbles, he would have 2 less cards here, which is really unfortunate. But this doesn't have dominate on it, so it's not even that bad. So we basically just go, and he will have an arsenal, so we'll go here, here, and go ahead and give the tunic. I like playing Tome, but not while being hit with a Remorseless is the problem. So unfortunately, I think I have to play a little safe. We'll do this because it box for 2 because we won't take damage playing the CNC. And this will get the CNC will get 2 cards, so we'll be operating on a 3-card hand. We'll have a Nimblism and Arsenal for the pivot. I would say it's looking fine. Okay, he did have 3 blocks, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. So we'll block all the way down. Hopefully Arsenal, one of the surges, we want a Nimblism Snatch is our goal. Unless he just throws 1 arrow, then we'll just literally let it hit. If he doesn't have a pump. So we can pitch these 2 reds for this Earth Lore and then Snatch for 12, which will get the whole hand. He's on he doesn't have a tunic counter. He will have an arsenal. I think that's actually the play. So he can't fire back, so this is 100% tempo. Super inefficient doing it this way, but, you know, it'd be like that sometimes. So I'll take the whole hand. And then we have full tempo, and we can literally, if we can just swing Rosetta, we win. Look at that, we can. So here, fuse. We actually can play Sift at no resolution. Pitch. Rosetta after. That's it. That's 1 Azalea game down. Pretty smooth. Pretty smooth. Really, that matchup just comes down to picking spots. That's really what it comes down to. Understanding where you're at in the game and whether it's more beneficial to extend the game or shorten it is very important. Okay. So we have another Azalea matchup. Well, But wait, there's more. Was that you, Ray? Can you go through which cards you're willing to take out of the deck for sideboarding? Yeah. So in this matchup specifically, what we're doing is we are putting in the unmovables, taking out the Sonatas because anytime you run D-Reacts, it throws the ratio for Sonata off. Give and take is always taken out in for CNC. So anytime CNC comes out, what you take out is give and take because in the Ranger matchups, like give and take's really not doing a whole lot. They don't want to block anyway. But we're trying to maintain maximum explosiveness with the Earth Ore Surges, and that's why the come to fights are not in. That is the idea anyway. Which cards you want to take out of the deck for sideboarding? Yeah, after this match, I will go through the sideboard of the deck and kind of like what the thought process is. I can definitely do that. 100%. All right, we got a drill shot. Hopefully that's not dominated. I was looking away. Yep, no Azalea on the thing. I don't have one-handed weapons, so it's just Dimage. Okay, we just blocked the whole hand. Call it a day. Cool story. Sure. That's pretty good. But you can't ever play around it. He does get 2 block here. It's pretty good. But the last game, shit, we started at 31. I'll give up 2 block if I ain't gotta do that. Oh, he just got dunked on, bro. You done messed up. That's 12. That is 12 all day with the 1 floating for the 2 and 2. That's a 16 on 4 cards, chat. That's the old 16 on 4. He done messed up with the drill shot. He done got. Ranger doesn't know nothing about that value. You done goofed. That's a fact. All right, so this is good. My blocking priority is not that. Sure. It's also good that Aspire sniping's on top because it's like something he cannot like realistically Azalea into. So we really don't care. We are going to block this. What we're going to do is we're going to cover it up here and here. Send for embodiment management and then arsenal the protection. Since we have such a lead right now. And this is fine. So we were only planning on throwing 1 attack anyway. So this is basically just damage. Completely irrelevant. Earthlord's Surge is one hell of a drug. That's a fact. That's a fact. And see, now we got a little bit of security in the arsenal, so we are in good shape. We got the embodiment. Easy peasy. Solid hand. Bramble Fuse into Rabble. Still allowing for 7 block here with the Sword Swing. So we have a 4 into a 4 into a 5, so that's a 3-card. 3-card 13. Icelander don't know nothing about that. Just playing the value game is all we're trying to do. We're not trying to blow him out with a Chinamount Heroic. That's not the name of the game here. We are just playing value. That's all we're doing. Okay, so here we have 14 with 14 million effects, but it has dominates. There's nothing we can do about it, theoretically, right? It's 14, so the max we can do is 7, 9, 10, 11. So we don't even have the option to cover it up. So it's not even a debate. Okay, he does have Seek and Destroy, which means we do need to go ahead and give up the Sink Blow, and we need to get rid of the extra card here. And yeah, that'll cover up all. We do lose a tad bit of value because the Sword Swing will be -1, but it's still a 3 card for 12. Okay. So yeah, we'll just Sink Blow here and do our play that we talked about earlier. It's more than fine. Wait, oh, shoot. That was wrong. Oh, we can't deramp from Arsenal. That's right. Completely forgot about that. So does that change anything? Do we? So chat, that actually, so what we could do is we could crown the Sink away, put an extra card in hand, which no matter what, we could E-strike it down. But we take an extra damage to do that. Which means that play is only worth 4 value for 2 cards in armor. Seems very bad. So we're just going to lose the Sink here. It's fine, though. It's fine. So we're going to do the 2-step like we mentioned. In fact, we're not going to make a rune chant. What we're actually going to do is we're going to send it and then Rosetta, and we're going to take Tunic counter to pay for the Blood Rot Pox. That's what we're going to do. I would crown the Arsenal away, but like it reduces my chance to pivot on a key turn for what possibly is going to be very little value. I'm just not a fan of that play. The armor is so important in these matchups. And so what we're going to do is here. And we're going to take Tunic counter and reactions so that way we can pay off the Blood Rot Pox. Instead of making a rune chant, we get to do that. Pretty decent. Pretty decent. We're still ahead on life. We got more armor. We're sitting pretty good. Definitely looking to block with the Force of Nature here and sending Nimblism Snatch to warrant some blocks. Don't mind snapping next turn to really push, but we will see. Didn't want to make a super aggressive play last turn because we were under Remorseless. So I wanted to minimize the amount of cards I played because I want to get super punished that way. Okay, so this has Dominate, but we have the 4-on-4 covered up, but he's pumping it by a lot. So this is going to hit. That's fine. So what we're going to do, we have Frailty and Seek and Destroy, so we need to be able to play our cards. We can snap into the Exude. That's perfectly fine. The other option would be... No. We could jam the armor here so he doesn't get value from the on hit. Could be a little greedy, but might just be what we have to do because of the life that we're at. We're going to take 9 here and go to 10. So I think we will jam here just to decrease the amount of value he's getting, and we'll keep the hand. It's perfectly fine. It does what it's supposed to do. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to nimblism into the snatch. Typically, you want to save the snatch for the end of the combat chain, but because of sneak and destroy being active, the threat of the draw on the end of the chain doesn't mean anything. Whereas this, if he lets it hit, if it's another nimblism or something, we can play it into the exude to get max value. Like this, we can play that. It's just one more damage, but that's fine. You know, it's one more that we wouldn't have had. And this also forces either a card or some armor. So or both. We take that. So the hand size is a little bit smaller. We negated the seek and destroy effect. All is good. We got very good blocking hand. Assuming it's not dominated, which given it's a Bolton shot, it probably won't be. Which means we have actually the perfect counter for a Bolton play. We really want to see him dump everything into this arrow without it being dominated, because then we can cover it up very easily, but in this case, we're fine doing this. He could Rain Razors here, but he probably wants to pitch a card for Death Dealer anyway. This is okay, because we're going to block his next attack anyway, assuming he has one, and if not, we can always... yeah. This is fine. There's like no on-hit effect here. And we two-step the Seek and Destroy effect because we're just playing embodiment management at this point. So all is well. So if anybody is having issue playing into Ranger as Briar, this is how you do it. This is what I was doing all weekend, and it landed me... I only played one Azalea, I won that one, and then I beat 4 out of 6 Lexis. Just playing the value game, not doing anything fancy, not playing Channelmount Heroic. I mean, I play it, but like only if they like let me. If they put on no pressure, I will definitely play it. But more times than not, it is not played. Okay, so here we have an interesting choice. He has utilized 1, 2 Rain Razors. Okay. Now he does not. He's used his Death Dealer. This is a very important turn, right? Death Dealer's used, and he's popped his Bullseye Bracers. So therefore, we could actually just block 9 here and completely shut everything down. Ideally, I want to keep a blue and kill him with Arcane, but I don't know what's behind here, and I'm not a high enough life total. I'll play this to get 2 cards next turn, and then we'll make the pivot then with the blue to take it down. But this shuts the turn down. Yep, E-Strike for 7. We'll take it. And then we will get 2 cards. He'll be on a 2-card hand. And then we'll take it down with a blue, hopefully. Yep, there's the blue, so we'll block 7 on whatever comes. And close it out with a Rune Champ. How's this list doing against Oldham? It does great. It does fantastic. I dropped 1 during the Pro Tour just because I sonated for 6 while I had a channel out and didn't hit a single one. Believe it or not. And that's the game. We got there. We did it. Easy. Just play the value game and go from there. GG. Okay. Oh, I said we were going to go over sideboard. So we will go over sideboard. I told somebody that. I forget who. But let's do that real quick. Okay. So the way that I like to do my sideboarding is I like to do basically this is like the most aggressive version of the list. So if I'm playing like the mirror match, I'm just playing what 60 is here. Okay. And then these cards kind of tailor from that plan, right? So anytime a D-React comes in, it has to go into a non-attack spot, right? You never take out an attack for a D-React, right? D-Reacts are classified as far as sideboarding as non-attacks, in my mind, right? So anytime Sink Below comes in against Dory, the Rangers, anybody like that, you always take out Sonata. 3 for 3 swap. Okay? And then for unmovable, you kind of have some choices, but Pulse of Candlehold's not really doing a whole lot. And neither is This Round's on Me, because you're playing unmovable against Azalea and Bravo and Dory, which those cards don't really. So I usually take out 1 Pulse and 1 This Round's on Me and throw in an unmovable. Okay, this right here, the third This Round's on Me, serves 2 purposes. If I play against a deck where it's a better card than Sift, I will swap it. Or if I need the increased block, aka Lexi, or a matchup like that, I would swap a So Tomorrow for a This Round's on Me, just to increase the block value. Okay, Rites of Replenishment is simply anti-fatigue. I take out Sift, or I take out 2 This Round's on Me. This is only played against Oldhim and Dromai. I take out 2 This Round's. So this is a. Let me take a step back. This main deck 60 is a 28-32 split. 28 attack, 32 non-attack. Anytime you play the bulkier cards, if you're not on a blocking plan, you typically want to go to a 30-30. So I take 2 non-attacks out and put in the rights. And that takes it to a 30-30 split to reduce the brick chance. CNC, like I said earlier, any time it comes in against Ninja and Ranger only, you swap it for give and take. Always. Just a 1-for-1. Put those 3 in, take those 3 out. Because you never really want to be playing give and take against Rangers or Ninjas, right? They're not really blocking. So it's just a 1-for-3, which is kind of below rate. And even if you Rosetta with it, it's not like the most amazing play in anyway, right? It doesn't even fit with the curve of Earthlore Surge. So it's just not amazing. So anytime CNC comes in, give and take comes out. Last card is Come to Fight. Okay, Come to Fight is strictly to increase the block of the deck. This is going to be for Lexi. So you're just going to take out 2 red Earthlore Surges and put in the Come to Fight to increase the block. Okay, and hopefully we can get a Lexi match in so I can kind of show what I'm talking about. And then obviously the crown is for Icelander and Kano, and then the Shock Charmers are also for Icelander and Kano. I played 1 Icelander in the event. It was Kevin Murphy that was in chat earlier. The reason I played the Shock Charmers was I didn't know if the Icelanders were going to come off the Wounded Bull package and go more toward like a sigil plan to shut down the Rangers. So it was a hedge in that direction. Turned out he was on Bullander, but in that case, Grasp would have been better. But that was my thought process on playing Shock Charmers into him. So yeah, that's the sideboarding 101. Hope that makes sense. If you got any questions about like anything specific, just let me know. Azuri. We would like to start with tempo. Okay, for the Azuri matchup, don't Arsenal. Just don't. It's never worth it. Of course, Brendan. No worries. If everybody in chat would do me a favor, something that I've been kind of wondering about, is everybody having more or less RTNs in their area this year? Let me know in chat if you're having more or less. Let me know if you're having more or less RTNs this year than last year. I would say we have half as many in my area, which is kind of concerning, but not entirely sure. So there's nothing we can do about it. We're gonna get beat up here, shake down, take a card, doesn't matter. He's probably gonna take Scar, but I don't really care. Because the hand is still gasoline. So he did not see the swarming. We drew the swarming. So we want to lead with the rabble in hopes that he doesn't cover it up fully. And then it'll hit, make an embodiment. We'll pitch to make a rune chant, pumping the swarming to 4, and then Rosetta for 2. Less, and I live in a major East Coast city. Less for me. We went from 2 to 1. Yeah, same here. Like we have literally like half as many, and I'm trying to figure out why. Or like, are they doing less? I don't know why. Like, I'd be curious to find out. And for those of you that saw the Twitter kerfuffle, if you will, I put out a tweet that said, why does I basically put a tweet out that said, there's 90-day XP invites for Nats, but not Elo. Is this a joke kind of thing? And I don't know. Everybody took it as like me hating on XP invites, which that's not the case. I think they're great. People that support the community get an invite. I think everybody's happy about that. But I was very curious that like there is no actual like invite for Elo. I think it's a rated event. I think it's personally pretty reasonable to do an invite off of Elo was my thought process. But who knows? So this is actually a very interesting spot because he could have a shred here. It's entirely possible. But I don't want to overcommit the cards. But we might just have to. Because I don't want to lose that card. Yeah, we'll put him on better habit. And what this does, this allows us to get a sword swing off. But we might, yeah, let's go ahead and play the Force of Nature. If he doesn't know the interaction. So for those of you who don't know, I've made one aura, so it has go again. But if this hits, this will trigger before Force of Nature does. Therefore, or the embodiment can. Therefore, it would go up to 4, and then therefore, when Force of Nature runs the check, it would draw a card. In case anybody did not know the interaction. He is running more than 60 cards. Not sure why. It's not going to get him very far. This is a good example of why. Yep, don't care about that card. We're going to and we actually will go ahead and prep the next hand. There's no reason not to. We'll go ahead and play Pulse. And what we'll go ahead and do is set up a blue and a red Earth Lore just to add some recursion, and then we'll go ahead and throw the swarming that has go again. And then we'll do the same play next turn on the Lightning Surge is what we'll do. Just give both. Somebody took it the wrong way. Yeah. Everybody thought I was hating on XP invites, man. I'm not sure why. Maybe I miscommunicated or phrased it the wrong way. Not sure. I think RTNs are 5 XP per win, but they could be 6. I'm not entirely sure. Thoughts on holding on to Arsenal? Yeah, we always do. Yeah, we hold it. I mean, unless if he doesn't give up blocks, that's super sketch, and then we have a reason not to. Okay, so here we just play it out. No big deal. Because we're going to lose it anyway from the inertia. So we countered that pretty good. The only problem is we put 2 non-attacks on our deck, or on top of our deck for a pulse. So we could brick. It's the only downside. Any consideration to pulse after Surge plus Gloomveil? If I did it that way, Smoke, I wouldn't have guaranteed go again. I needed the aura to secure the go again, and against a deck that that loves to block like he's doing, I just can't take that risk. But normally that is the line I would take. I would bank the embodiment if I knew he wasn't going to block. But we're getting some damage in, and I feel like we're going to brick, though, because we put the 2 non-attacks. Super unfortunate. Oh, we dodged. We dodged. Okay, now like the armed. We have tunic counter, so I'm actually... Let's do some math here because we have a couple options. We can Nimblism, Rabble, Tunic Counter, Swing, and then Arsenal the Red Earth Lore, or blocking 4 and then a little bit more, or we can... So that's 3, assuming 4 plus 4 is... That would be 11 plus the 4, that'd be 15. Whereas if we block here, we go 5... But we don't get the Arsenal is the key part there. Okay, so this is the most efficient line. Yeah. This is the one. So we go here. I haven't seen a channel. That's why I'm nervous about him just chipping cards off the top. I don't want them to hit the... So he would have got a come to fight. That's what he would have gotten. We don't want him to get those good reds. We don't want him to get those good reds. Sam said with a CC deck costs the same price as a 1999 Honda Civic. Oh, absolutely, Seb. I mean, like, not only that, but the reward from the RTNs are a lot less, which I think ultimately is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. You know, winning a $5,000 tunic is great, but the lower the value of the top end prize of an RTN, the less people will repeat grind, which opens the door for a lot of players, I think, which is really, really important, I believe. So this is a weird one. I think we actually just have to crown the Arsenal way to protect from the CNC. Could be another shakedown. What's our play look like? Otherwise, we actually want to take a little bit of damage here, but we won't take enough to turn on scars. So that's asking too much. Hmm. This is an interesting one. We can go ahead and block 6, but then only present 4 and waste a card because we can't go 4 and 4. We do take away the possibility of D-reacts, but he'll just give a card in armor. This is kind of sketch, I'm not going to lie. And I'm not ready to give up crown because we really need to save it for the channel turn. So let's do... But he has no arsenal. We just need to force him to play it here. So if he's got CNC, he's got it. Like, that's fine. Even if I was good enough to farm wins for 90 XP, there's not enough armories near me to justify. Absolutely. I have one within 45-minute drive. Or it's an hour and 15-minute drive just for one. I feel like he's going to hit my channel here. We got 2 red earth ore surges. Sheesh. Okay. So I do want to start setting up. We haven't seen a channel, so I want to start getting ready for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Come to Fight, pitching the Scar, and we're going to play the Exude to shut down any D-react he has. So that way it could clunk his hand, and then we're going to Arsenal the Give and Take because we're coming up on a tunic counter in 2 turns. And this is one of the best cards you can have in Arsenal when you do stumble across that channel mount heroic when we finally do. Yep, this is perfectly fine. That is value. Okay, so we have a frailty token. Leave no witness. We might actually play it. I have a ponder. I really want to get this in Arsenal because it's a higher priority than this. I'm just not sure if there's a great way to do that. Which there is not, because these are 2 blocks. So I'd have to give up this, and then sinking that feels so wrong. But we are coming up on a tunic counter. He's still got a lot of arsenal threat. He's basically got all of it except these 2 cards. Kind of sketch. Let's just do these 2 and then we'll E-strike for 7. Call it a day. Keep the threats in the deck. We really need this channel to come quicker rather than later. We haven't seen one, nor have we sonated, so we haven't shuffled the deck. So we're halfway through our cards and have not seen one Channel Mount Heroic. None of them have been banished. So this is on the lower side for sure, but it's fine. He's already at 26. We've maintained pretty well. Still have a good bit of armor for when he does decide to push something while we have Channel Mount Heroic out. Okay, if he's given the armor here, then he more than likely has something. I guess not. It's interesting. Shakedown. Not entirely sure on this one. This hand's gonna ask though, but so what we can do is we can go here and here, and then this into this, hoping we get something. He obviously has a reaction here. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Yep, we let him resolve it. And we shut it down and we go ahead and sink it away. Didn't change anything. And we just keep trying to outvalue. He got pummeled. Yeah, I thought he did. That's why I blocked the way I did. You never know on Talshar. We do lose an embodiment, but this is just too good of a card in Arsenal. And I mean, there's got to be a Mount Heroic around the corner. But now we're not going to get Earth Blue because we went through a lot of those. So it's looking a little dicey, but I think well, that's value. Sheesh. That means his hand's doo-doo. Oh, that's all right. Oh, chat. Oh, chat. Oh, chat. Oh, man. How much do we risk this? This is a tough spot. No, if we had no embodiment, it's super easy. But if we crown it away and we don't draw an attack, we just give up tempo. Unfortunately. So let's do a count. We sunk the lightning surge. We tell him thinking. So we sunk the lightning surge on the E strike, and we had another autumn's touch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 out of 8. That's 13 out of. This is 14. So 14 out of 18 plus 6 is 24. Plus 5 is 29. Okay, so we have an almost even split, but we drew 4 non-attacks. So, yeah. Let's do it. Let's just crown this bad boy away. We're going to rip it. I ain't scared. We did the count. No, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. We'll just super set up. He probably thinks he's dying here when he's actually pretty okay. Two Dimage. Is this a good time to bring up that high roll discussion we had earlier? Is this a good moment to do that? This hand's pretty good. Yeah, we're not blocking with attacks, bro. I don't know who you've been talking to. Death touch? Bro. Chat, he's going to need some milk. I don't even know it. Oh, we got him dead to rights. Give me whatever you want to give me, bro. Just give it to me. Blood rot pox? Good. This is a 0 for 9 now. Let's go. All right, so we're just going to kill him this turn because I feel like it. So we're going to tome, draw some stuff. We'll go infectious host rabble and do some other stuff. So let's just get that going. Sheesh. This is the embodiment from last turn. Whether we're gonna bramble fuse or we're gonna throw the rabble, try and get some more blocks out, and then we're gonna play bramble fuse into snatch with go again. Then we have an option to either tunic swing or we can pitch the channel to maintain. Just depends on how the blocks work out. We gave him back what he gave us. He deserves it. Okay, here. Oh, wait, no. Let's go here. See what's on top. It's a scar for scar. Okay. Well, that's not going to have go again anytime soon. Okay, we did get a block. That's good. This is going to come in for 10 and 1. We get 2, 8, 1, 1. We probably get most of the hand here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This dude's deader than grass. I'll tell you what. Create the embodiment from lightning because the other one was from the last turn. See, we just had to be patient, chat. We had to be patient. And this is 10 and 1. Draw a card with go again. Still have snaps up. And we know there's a scar on top, so we actually just draw the scar, snap it, and then go Rosetta and kill him. Is actually what we do. And that's how you take down Missouri. With after bricking and oh, that's Chris. That's Chris. He was in chat, wasn't he? Chris 3015. Yep. That was somebody from chat. GG, Chris. Hate to do it to you. Oh, that was yeah. So when you played the CNC, I don't know if you were listening or whatever, but when you played the CNC, I had Bramble, Blue Earth, and CMH in my hand, and then I had a Give and Take in Arsenal, and I was like YOLO, and I drew a damn Nimblism, so I had all 5 non-attacks in the grip. So that's why I hit you with the old 2 Dimage, all 5 cards. But because that happened, the next hand I drew a bunch of attacks. That's just how it works. You know, it do be like that. But GG, Chris. Good game. So that puts us up 3-0. 3-0. And none of the matches have been particularly, like, good matchups, I would say. 2 Azaleas and an Azuri. Not what you want to see, you know, getting paired against. But we're 3-0 because we're playing Briar. We're playing the comfort pick, if you will. Just doing that value. Okay, so I'm going to play this match, and then I'm going to I really want you guys to see the Lexi matchup. I think that's where you guys will get the most value from. So the next matchup I'm going to put looking in chat or looking for Lexi in the description. So Dromai, we don't run all the poppers. We take out one due to clunkiness. But we still run a healthy like 4 or 5 of them, you know, just a decent number. No big deal. Zorb. That seems familiar. I'm not sure. Well, okay. That's a turn 1. Really? Like, really? That's so messed up. Just rip the nourishing. What is this? The first Azalea game, I started on 30. The second one, he hit my armor. What is this? These ain't even good cards. What is happening? We have to get this out of our deck ASAP. We have to get to Channel My Heroic, so we have to make sure we filter through all of our cards, which means we have to play this, putting this on bottom, making a rune chant, and swinging 4 and 1. Not the most exciting turn. So he had the best start he could have had, and I had the worst. Let's see if we can make it up. Let's see what we can do. We're not giving up yet. Not while we got Channel My Heroic and pulses to get him back in the deck. All right, let's see what he's got holding the old 5-card hand with a card in arsenal. 6-card hand. We're just making sure we play enough cards, or we need to be as efficient with our cards as possible while cycling through our deck as fast as possible is the number one. That's why I played that so for like really no particular reason. Is we really just need to like really just be cycling through as much as possible. Sure. Okay. Okay, this is an amazing start from him. Holy crap. We obviously have to block, or we have to pop here. Well, yeah. Because we know he's going to Ash Wing, and then... The Mai has a 4 booty, right? Yeah, okay. 4 booty. Okay. So I usually don't like to use snaps this early, but with him getting a start like this, it could warrant it. The line that I'm thinking of is we don't. I know how to handle this. So the play here is going to be to take this. We're going to Lightning Surge into the Mai, and then we're going to play Exude Pump into Uvia to clear that, because he's just going to get too much value from it over the course of the game. And presenting 6 against a rather defensive deck is not going to really progress the game state. And we're just trying to buy time for Channel My Heroic is ultimately what we're trying to do. Trying to manage the board state, keep his Ash as low as possible without making him pay for his Ash. Not letting his Ash economy be essentially free is what we're trying to do. Just trying to manage the game. Very ballsy of him to attack with that, though, for the 1 damage. Kind of greedy, if you ask me. Just trying to manage the game. Until he makes a very efficient play to make ash, like blue sweeping blow. And then we'll get tempo that way. So here into Ubia, and then we'll crank it up. Okay, this hand's pretty good. We really want him to play something with like a 2-butt on it. Would be ideal. We don't particularly care about the rabble, but let's see our line here. He's doing 4 go again. We can't block very well here, unfortunately. So we're probably going to... We're obviously going to do that. So this will not be here. But then again, we could just sink that. That's actually an okay play. That actually is an okay play. So we'll take this. We are definitely behind here, but that's okay. There's nothing we can do about this. He's already shown me that he'll attack with the Ubia, so he will attack with the Mirror Guy after the Ashwing. And we can't stop it anyway, so it's happening regardless. So that's why we can save it to the end for Mirror Guy that we know he's going to attack with here. If he doesn't, we got us a Stream Sniper. Uh-oh, we got us a Stream Sniper. So he'll attack with Ubia at the end, but not Mirror Guy. Makes perfect sense. Okay, we'll have to just take care of business the old-fashioned way. So let's do a Bramble Fuse. Present this at him. Yeah, Brendan, but he had full tempo, so he knew he was going to be able to make Ash. Because, there was no... I'd already given a card. I had a 3-card hand. Like, there's no way that he's not going to lose tempo there. We are going to throw this into the Mirror Guy and snap it, and then pitch and take care of the Chroma. Sure. Once again, we're just trying to manage the board state. Okay, and then here we can... just go... I do like... No, we need to get to CMH as fast as possible. So we will make a rune chant here, and then we'll swing 2 into Chromine. and 3 arcane at him, which will even it up a little bit, and his board state's gone. We still have our armor, but we had to give up snaps, but we still got everything. So still looking okay. We're definitely behind here, but a CMH can get us back up and running real quick, which we didn't draw. We haven't seen any Kylorians, so it's kind of risky giving up the Crown of Providence this early, but I think it's so important on this turn to actually push damage that we might actually have to. So we are going to get rid of the Earthlore Surge. I really do not want to play this Sonata because we haven't seen a channel yet, and I do not want to shuffle the deck if I don't have to. So definitely not wanting to do that. Go ahead and take out the Azraeli. Might as well. Send the Rabble at him. Hopefully it's for 4. Okay, we have a Nimblism on top. Let's go ahead and take Tunic and send the Give and Take at him. If he does give us a card here, that's actually okay. And then we'll go and throw the Snatch because we haven't played a non-attack. Still behind, but really need that Channel Out Rogue now. This is actually good because the on-hit here is actually irrelevant because we don't have Go Again, can't do anything with the card, and he even knows what it is, so... yeah, Brendan, hitting Autumn's Touch, I just pitched one. So I did think about that, but because I just pitched one away, I thought the chances were very low. But it would be the dream. Do not want to play this until we get a channel, though. Holy cow. Guess we dumping a lot into it. Hate to say it, but I think we actually block here. Sheesh. Okay. It's okay. Our ratio is actually pretty okay. We drew all non-attacks here, but the last hand was almost all attacks. So we're actually kind of fine here. We'll give up 1 card here and then dump 2 into Sonata. If we miss, that really sucks. We'll do X is 1. Can you tell I'm a 4 who enjoys high rolling to a level 9? Oh, the dream. Come on, let's get something. There we go. Let's go. We have the tunic counter to push some damage, or not tunic counter, but we have the nimblism to give it go again. So we can swing 7 into him to establish some tempo, and then do 2 and 2 at Kylori to maintain board state. Overall, pretty good hand, but the problem is we did just shuffle the deck, which could get us even further from Channel Mount Heroic, unfortunately. But we had to. We had to get an attack. We didn't have a choice. We have him to 9, so now the game just becomes try to get all the cards out of his hand is literally what it just becomes. Okay, we found it. Wowza. Did we really find it? Is the way you have to look at this. And the answer is no. We did not really find it. We're going to arsenal in it, but good thing we have a 4 block to take care of this pesky problem. And we're going to literally make the same play. Just instead of a nimblism, we have Channel Mount Heroic. Once we play this thing, all our attacks are poppers. We're in good shape. We also still have a bunch of poppers in the deck. Hopefully we don't draw them all at once. That would be game losing. But we're actually okay here. We'll go ahead and give this in the armor. No big deal. And then to hedge on risk here, if we play the Sonata and we miss, it's catastrophic because he has a Kyloria on board. So we're actually just going to pitch it to take out the Kyloria to maintain the board state. And then we'll also arsenal this for the kill turn. But we can see if we would have hit it. We would have drawn this. We would have hit the blue. Yeah. This is actually the worst case scenario because our only attack is a popper. Super bad. This could cost us the game here because we have to like make a very hard, like we can't play the Channel Mount Heroic and like it's rough. This doesn't have go again, but he could snap it. I think he will snap this. So I am in favor of blocking here and here. This is telling him that I have another one. No, I don't want another burn the mole is the problem. I guess he doesn't have that many reds, so maybe it's not an issue, but I really just don't want. We'll just pop here though. And then he just burns 2 cards. We'll play the Channel Mount Heroic. We'll pass. Yeah, I really didn't want to give him another burn the mole's the problem. And this way he burns snaps and still didn't do anything. So I did take a little bit of damage, but I wasn't doing anything with the hand anyway, is the real point. And so as long as he can't force all the cards out of my hand and I don't brick, we should be somewhat fine. We need him to play dragons. That is a dragon. Okay. So we actually take this one to turn on Scar. And then we pop this one. So we go here. That pops it. And then we throw 14. Not what we wanted out of a channel turn. We wanted to just kill him. But, you know, what can you do? So we'll go ahead and Scar. Add her, of course. Get cards. She's at 10, so at the end of the exchange, she has to give me roughly 2 cards, no matter what. There's the 2 cards. And we have a lot of poppers left in the deck, so I'm fairly certain we'll draw one in the next hand. And then we'll have the go again ready for to put on pressure. So, although this Azrael is going to become a problem very quickly with the life that we're at. And I burn them all. Does he keep the burn them all is the question. Okay, we did not get the popper, which is bad. He played a red Skittering Sands, which means this is going to come in for 4. Taking a gamble here because we're behind. And I kind of have to. But so the gamble is I'm really banking on him taking damage from this lightning surge. Just 1 damage is what I'm really hoping for. And what that'll do is give me the embodiment, and I can just efficiently trade the swarming for the Azrael. Is because I'm in such a behind spot, I just have to make this play. Normally I wouldn't. Normally I would just play it safe and throw the surge into the Azrael and call it a day. But we really don't have an option. I'm just really hoping he takes the damage here, like he is choosing to. So this gives us the embodiment, which will give the swarming go again, which will throw straight into the Azrael. So it all is going as planned, and now we have a choice. We throw the snatch. So we do need a card. There's no denying that. The question is, we're never throwing snatch here. We can E-strike, draw a card, or we can E-strike 7. 7 requires a card. 5 also requires a card, even if he gives us furnace. So if he had the D-react, he probably would have covered up the lightning surge. So I think let's get a Toma Harvest count. We really don't want to draw that. I really feel like we're going to draw poppers, though. Or not. Yeah. We still have a lot of poppers in the deck. We've only drawn 2. And I don't want to Arsenal that if I draw it off the E-strike. It's tough here. But I think we have to get the card. What does E-strike for 7 accomplish? He gets 2 cards. No, it doesn't. Well, he could go to 1, but I highly doubt it. So 7 might actually be the play. I think it's 7. And he can give me 1 card in here if he wants to go to wants to go to 1, but I doubt he does. And this will prevent like other dragons, any 1-cost dragons, unless it's an arsenal. Also played around the CNC play. But hopefully this keeps him off just enough. Obviously he has a D-react here. Or not. Not sure what happened there. Not entirely sure. Yeah, you got to block or you're dead, bro. Okay, so he went to 1. So now we're just trying to swing Rosetta without him making another Ashwing. Well, we have Rosetta, but he has more Ashwings. Okay. So this is a series of 1. So this is actually okay. So what we can do is we can pay into Sonata. And if it hits, if we get any kind of split, because he is going to get 1 card here because he goes Ashwing, Ashwing, Ashwing. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay in Sonata, reveal 4 cards, hopefully deal 1 Arcane. Then we'll play Give and Take, and then pitch the card we get off of it to Rosetta. So that's 2 physical, 3 physical, and 3 Arcane. Without Furnace, that should be enough. The problem is we're just banking on that we hit. And maybe we don't even pay into the Sonata. That's extremely valid too. But we do have to block. If he has an attack in Arsenal, we just lose. No, we don't win off of Arcane here because he has AB on the dragons. But if he has an attack in Arsenal, we do just lose. We do just lose. And especially if it's a dust up. Oh, if it's dust up, we are toasted. Okay. So now we just have to dream. We have to. We also need that not to be a sigil in Arsenal. If that's a sigil, it's very bad for us. So we're just gonna Sonata for 0. Hopefully hit. We do. Not entirely sure what that does for us though. But we can go here, reveal what he's already seen. He is pitching a red. That's a good sign. We will present at her. This is good. So now this is the best interaction. If you ever play against Dromai, you can just put a popper on top. Literally. You can just put a popper on top. And so now we have a guaranteed popper. If that is a sigil. But if it's not a sigil, making a rune chant here and sword swinging should be enough. Just depends. And we got it. I wish there was a way to look. See, chat, that's how you don't get discouraged from eating a Nourishing Emptiness turn 0. You just hang in there. We played a Channel Mount Heroic. Played 0 attacks on the first turn we played it. And only got 2 attacks off on it on the second. And then we blocked with the other Channel Mount. So Channel Mount's not even necessarily required to beat Dromai. In fact, I won one of my calling games without playing Channel Mount Heroic against Dromai. Super close match. Super close. But we got that one. We got the 4-0 chat. We got the 4-0. We're killing it because we're playing the comfort pick. We know what we're doing. Oh, I said I was going to say looking for Lexi because I want you guys to see that matchup. So we're gonna put looking for Lexi. Okay. All right. So first rule of thumb is you always want to go second into Lexi, no matter what. I think literally Lexi always wants to go second now. Yep. So, like I said, our game plan is just to efficiently block throughout the entire match. Anytime they stop and they like pitch a oh shit, my bad. I didn't even look, Justin. My bad. My bad, bro. Lexi looking for Nathan on Briar. That's hilarious. My bad, Justin. Oh, dang, we lost. Oh no, not like this. Briar can be so good and so bad at the same time. If he doesn't attack, if he attacks, we have a chance. If he doesn't, it's not looking good. Thank God. Please try and rain razors. I hope you do it. What else you got? That's cool too. Made my day. Oh, this hand's pretty good. Pretty good, I tells you. What are you talking about, Justin? We got bailed out. We got bailed out. And this is even going to have go again? Because we're going to put the Earthworm Surge on the bottom. Look at that. Look at that. This is tempo on a stick. I was going to say that this is why you don't attack into Runeblade the first turn. But, like, if I had channel, then he forces me to block with it. Like, it's both good and bad. Since Runeblade typically doesn't block very well, it's probably actually pretty decent to run into it. That's good. So our whole plan is to just arsenal attacks, always. And then just play efficiently is our game plan. But that was a pretty good turn to start things off. We did 12 damage and kept a card. And once again, you're looking at this and you're like, oh man, this is Channel Mount Heroic. No, it's not. It is a hand that blocks 13 is what it is. It is a hand that blocks 13. That's what this is. It is not a Channel Mount Heroic hand. Unless he did pitch a red there, so that is comforting, but he obviously has 3 of a kind here. So we're just trying to make it on the other side of this 3 of a kind, minimizing our damage. He has a frailty trap. This doesn't have an on-hit effect. He did Voltaire that in, so that means he has 1 Voltaire activation and then a trap in Arsenal. So I think it actually might be a Channel Mount Heroic turn because this is not threatening. So we're actually going to take 4 here. And we can Bramble it and then draw a card. Because we do it like that. think you might be right, Damien. A blue infecting shot? That's it? All right, chat. I lied to y'all. We're just going in. We're just doing it live. We're going to go channel, bramble, draw a card, get in there like swimwear. If this is all he's going to throw at us, because you can't reload. Like, we could give up armor here, but I don't think it's worth it. Yep. We're just going to go in. The math says goeth inneth. You almost got us. That's always the CMH turn. I didn't want it to be. I was trying to be disciplined, but when he throwed some like jank stuff at us, I was like, well, I guess we're gonna do this stuff. So this is actually interesting. Okay, he's not playing the frailty trap. Okay, what? Oh, he undid. So he is playing the frailty trap. Which one's happening here? Okay. I was gonna say if he kept it there, we're arsenaling this every day of the week. Given that we accidentally turned this into a race, I think we just go ahead and send it. I think we do get protection, but I think we're going to draw enough attacks that it'll be fine. And I actually want him to play Codex and give me an attack because I have channel out. So yeah, we'll just rip it. I hate that this was the example. We just drew the nuts, right? Like we just had to. I'm supposed to play this slow, and I'm over here just slinging haymakers. Oh my god. What's that? Oh. Yep. We're taking it. Sorry, chat. I lied. This is Rain Razors, 3 of a kind. We just don't care. I hope all this does 40 damage. And you over here pitching reds to do it. What you pitching? You pitching a blue? Oh, red. Oh, we're taking it, chat. We're taking it. He pitched the red. He pitched the red. We're saving all our blocks for the chance that he has an endless arrow. That's all we're doing. I found something out against Lexi. It's only endless until they're dead. And then it don't matter if it's in their hand. Pitching another red. Oh, it's an endless. Yep, because he can bullseye bracers here, so we actually, unfortunately, do have to block with this one, as lame as it is. The question is, which one do we block with? And I think the answer is... Wait, what's the max block on his hand? 12? And we can present 7, 7, 7, 7, which is 28. 3 block. That's 25 minus 12 is 13 exactly. So we just kill him. Yeah, we just take this. I think, chat, right? Oh, no, we have remorseless active. I didn't think about that. That's a very important factor. So we'll play disciplined, I guess. Even though he has ponder token, and this error doesn't matter. I just don't want to get zapped for another 6. It does turn on Scar, yeah, but the problem is he's gonna sling it at me again for another 12, and then I'm gonna take 4 damage from a remorseless. This probably is me being a little conservative here, but I also only have lethal if this hits a red, which it did end up hitting one, but like you don't always know that. And if I would have taken 6 and another 6, I'd be at 7 here. Plus I'd go down to 5. So I don't know, Chief. You can't block the second one with armor, Damien. It's got rain razors. Son of a gun's coming in for 7. Let me get them cards. Either way, we got it pretty locked up. We got Lexi on the back foot. She's over here looking like she needs a software update. Yeah, we'll take tunic counter to offset the winter's bite. Joke's on you. What's the best avenue here? We could pay and then sword swing. That's 5 into 2. That guarantees 3 cards, which means he can't fire an arrow. Oh, I didn't even realize that tunic counter was on 3. That's my fault. Definitely should have. No, I didn't play a non-attack there, so it would have gotten the Arctic incarceration, and he would be dead this turn for sure. But it was I didn't realize that tunic was on 3. My mic stand kind of covers it up a little bit. Let's see. This forces a block of 6, which I don't think is good enough. I think actually the best play is make a rune chant and then go 7. I think that's the best one. Rune Chanting Exude would only be 4 and 1. This one presents basically a whole nother card's worth of value. I'm off of an arsenal, obviously, but I'm just trying to like. I could draw Snap, but it defeats the point of coming in for 7 because he's going to give me 2 cards to cover it up. See, he would just stop there, but now I get Horizons, which gets this as well by going 7. There's not really anything I can draw other than a 0 for 4 that makes it any good. And I would have drawn a CNC, which is no bueno. Okay, we have a Codex coming in hot. We'll just take the rabble here. Because the sword swing will kill him. And I'm not sure he knows that. So we're going to maim and play a channel without... without an earth card, just to swing Rosetta is what we're going to do. Oh, wait. He no, we're just going to block because he doesn't have Bullseye Bracer anymore. Duh. So we just cover that up. Make it a rune chant. Make it a rune chant. Schwangin. All right, sorry, chat out loud. But that's 5-0, chat, and the only favorable matchup we got was Dromai. Only Dromai. We played 3 Rangers, and a Zuri, and a Dromai. We're 5-0. I already know Justin's gonna be on some jank ass shit. Watch. Super ice to the max and gonna shut me down. Play the Lexi game that had the game title. I played the one. Cards with Michael. Everybody, we got Mr. Pro Tour champion Michael Fang in the chat with us. Give you the biggest congratulations, boss. I said at the beginning of the stream, couldn't have picked a better person to take it down. Been putting a lot of work, grinding the battle hardens and the callings and flying to New Zealand and putting up the good results. Really glad you took it down. Really happy for you, Michael. Thank God he attacked chat. Thank God oh my goodness. Oh, we about got messed up. That's the second game in a row. Where that happened. And we got bailed out because people be greedy. Okay, we got a couple options here. I do like, because we have to look at our non-attack ratio. We drew 3 more, so we're very likely to draw an attack. So actually the line that I prefer is to go ahead and set up the Bramble Spark here. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to play the Earth Lore, have the one floating. We're going to go ahead and pulse to put a Bramble and an Earth card on top. And it probably, for min-max reasons, should have been Earth Lore Surge, not a Tome. That's my fault. But then we'll Exude with Go again. And then next turn, since we drew 8 non-attacks, we'll definitely draw a attack with the card. And then this way we can present the Rosetta Swing, so we get a value of 11 from our cards. Maintain the... Oh, no, chat. Oh, no. How many non-attacks can we draw? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of 10 cards non-attack. Thank God we're blocking. Thank God we're blocking. I think we actually have to sink here. Well, no, this is... Okay, we're fine. This says Icequake, so we're blocking anyway. It doesn't actually matter. Yeah, I'm good with blocking this. Just call it a day. We'll just arsenal this. Go about our business. Yeah, Michael. The RNG's not been not been treating me well, but you know, it'd be like that sometimes. It do be like it. It's okay though, because I signed up for it, because at the very beginning of this, I went over what you give up when you know, you play a high roll deck versus a consistent deck, and I had to block there because he's going to create the inertia token, so I had to go ahead and extract the value there. We have 2 Frostbites, don't have a play. Even if we had Tunic counter, we can't do anything, so we just pass. We do have a good hand. Man, not a good hand, but a good hand to block with while we're off of an embodiment, especially when he's throwing down the size. So we will just block here and here, and then we will attempt to E-strike draw a card because we are very likely to draw an attack is the play. He's on some weird shit. This could get pressed, but we don't care. We're going to draw a card and draw something good because the universe owes it to us. Let's go. Let's go, chat. We take it. Just to crown it away. No, I'm just kidding. So game plan is to play the Come to Fight out to turn on Rosetta, pitching the Tome of Harvest. We'll extract 8 value from the block. We will bait out this Lightning Press is our goal. And then we'll play the Sink unless we didn't want to do it. Okay, that's fine too. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is bait. So how are we gonna efficiently do this? So unfortunately, the only way to do it here is to actually like obtain value from the hand. Is we have to block here and here, which does waste a block. I don't feel good about that. But this becomes a dead card is the problem. But we just sink it away. That's the answer. So if he presses here, we play the Sink. We get something better. Just add dramatic effect until you draw a mountain. Absolutely. Absolutely. Michael, are you going to Pittsburgh? You are you're the battle-hardened grinder, you know? Like, if anybody's going to Pittsburgh, it's got to be you, right? Just booked it today. I figured. I figured as much. We do block Grasp here because we just get 3 value out of it. There's no reason not to. That's just too much value. The question is here, we do have Tunic counter up, and we do get 2 value out of it, which is pretty good. We like to get 4, but we don't want to be greedy. And he is off of an arsenal, so we will have a lesser turn. So I do like going ahead and taking the value from the Tunic here. Okay, we have Ice Quake, so we are blocking. That's been established because we're on our all-red hand. But that is okay. He elected to give it +1 attack, so this does not have go again. So we just do the standard block here of 6 and then the 4 from the arsenal. And we're not sinking anything. He does have the press, which means we get a frostbite, but that's okay. I mean, it's not great, but like maybe we do. Oh wait, no. Oh. We should have played that there. That was like really good to do that. That was accidental good, but like that's so strong. Because now not only do we shut down the frostbite on the icequake, but we actually don't get reduced on the rabble. Is the important part. Kind of wish I would have sunk the rabble instead of the host though. But that's okay. We got little bit of tempo, not a lot, but a little bit. And we got a hella life lead. All right, so we got armor up. He's got a little bit himself. We do have the CNC play, but we don't have the blue to pay for it, so that is a little bit on the unfortunate side. With the life discrepancy here and no opportune time to play this, this unfortunately could very well be a block from the CMH, but that just feels really bad. Does this matter? Because he has two floating anyway, so this pathing helix is actually a trap to block, I believe. Michael, are you going to be on any podcasts or anything talking about your weekend? I bet he is. I bet he's got a full schedule. But if you're not, Michael, we would love to have you on our channel talking about it. Okay, this one is a good bit stronger actually because he has to pop bracers here. So I think we do give the CNC and the crown. I do want to, because we have such a decent life. I want to bramble into this lightning surge is what I really want to do. And depending on if he takes it, we can actually snap and pitch it. I know what you mean, Michael. Celebrate. Just make sure you celebrate with the team. That's the important part. All of you guys worked hard. All right, so 7-1 with the arcane guaranteeing the embodiment, and we have the option to snap here, but I think it's just outside the life threshold to where it makes sense. Although Channel Malroic and Arsenal can be a liability, but we have 24 life, so I'm willing to take that chance. Guess Wee's on blocking duty. We can, thankfully for Widowmaker, we can just throw snaps and it counts as a card, quote unquote. This doesn't have an on-hit effect because he has an arsenal, so he doesn't get the reload. So we are going to elect to take this one. He is pitching a red. Okay. So we have to block this one. There's no way around it. Just something that we got to do. So we are going to elect. This will come in for 4. So we can block here and here, and then just play the embodiment game. And then what we'll do is here, and then block with snaps, reduces the count. No, there's no reason because this is going to... I just didn't see the need to, because I didn't have an Earth card, right? So it's like Channel Mount Heroic just acts as a nimblism, basically, that doesn't give go again. And he can't have too big of a turn here. He's already played 2 3 of a kinds. I'm pretty happy just slowing it down a little bit. Perfectly happy slowing it down a tad. Bolton shot is somewhat relevant because we have 2. I think this might be the turn that we push, and the line that comes to mind is we can come to fight Rabble, E-Strike, draw a card, snap Rosetta, and that should be enough to get almost all the cards, although this is risky. Typically, I would want to block this because it does allow him to shoot an extra arrow with him having 2 floating. Seek and Destroy, not too concerned about. This is basically overlapping effects here. So 9's a little close for comfort. The channel did end up being a liability, unfortunately, but that is okay. Is there another line that we can take? Not that I see. Yeah, it'd be 7, 5, 2, and 2. That would be 16. That gives all but 1 card here. And then he's just on the back foot. Right? But then if we brick, we just don't have an embodiment. That's what forces us into this aggressive spot here, is we just don't have the embodiment is the problem. So we're going to take it. We're going to hope we draw an infectious host and give him the nurser right back. So I am going to lead with the draw card because depending on what we get, it could be relevant. I'm going to sink the one that is more than likely harder to play. So we do stick with the previously planned idea. We take the tunic counter here. We play the come to fight. We play the rabble and we pitch for a sword swing, depending on what the life is and what the blocking situation is. What is happening? Oh, I must have accidentally hit pass or something. I'm not entirely sure there. Oh, okay. That's what happened. Okay, so we did get the 7 there, which he is pressing just for the meme because he knows that's it. So we get the 2 in and we clean it up. Yeah, I was kind of nervous about arsenling that Gentleman Heroic. It did have a high probability of becoming a but yeah, that is 6 in a row. We take it, even with those hot dog water hands. We definitely take it. We take it. Blocking with the bullseye bracers. My man. Okay. No game with my name on it, so I'm gonna hop into one. I got a couple more in me. A couple more. GG, Justin. GG. I thought that cut down the size was a little weird. I'm not going to lie. Like, are you talking about the lightning press? Or because the lightning press would have, I guess you could have picked, you can pick my attack. But it could just default to like picking the bolt and shot that you blocked with. Because that is something that you can do. You can block with a 0 for 4 and then like pump it. You can turn anything into a popper with a lightning press. All right, we have another Lexi. It makes no difference to me what I play against. I wanted to get one Lexi game in to kind of show like, you know, how patient you have to play it. You can't go into the matchup racing because then it basically comes down to you never want to leave a matchup to where you draw a Channel Mount Heroic or they draw 3 of a kind and it's just decided on that. It just super feels bad. So with this hand right here, what I really love to do is just pass priority to attempt to bait them activating the bow if they want to get greedy. I don't want to present any information. Okay. And if this happens, I'm perfectly fine just arseling this and we still have an amazing hand. What just happened? Did he play an Arctic? What? Okay. Sure. We are going to elect to overpitch here because we do want to put this in Arsenal. Because he's setting up for a reason if he didn't want to shoot a single arrow. That means, it almost certainly means Arson the Bolton shot. Probably has a Rain Razors. Trying to set up a 3 of a con. So we're just trying to set up a really big turn. But didn't want the Arctic Incarceration hand more than likely. Is what I'm putting it on. So we are just going to present as much damage as we can. Probably should have just played that Bramble out, but missed a damage there. And now we just block. We do a whole lot of blocking. All right, so this is going to get Rain Razors every day of the week, but because he has a card in Arsenal, it's completely irrelevant. So we take this one, but we know he had. Oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Oh, is it actually worth double sync blowing here? Because it's only worth it if he has 3 of a kind. And I don't know if he does. If he does, it's 100% worth it. If he doesn't, it's not. It's a gamble. And it's super inefficient. So I'm actually going to let him reload. He has to have 3 of a kind. Why else would he pass, right? That would mean I only have to block 2 more arrows. I'm going to shut it down. But then he just banks it, right? Then he just fires 2 arrows and banks the 3 of a kind. So there's no win here. We have to let it hit. Now I have to stop him because I can't let him play a 3 of a kind at the end. Okay. We are going to block here and here. And just play. Okay, codex, sure. We have something just for you. Bolt shot, I don't think that's worth giving it up. No, we'll hang on to it. It's not worth that. All right, so we made it through 2 power cards and the Arctic. That's an important one too. We have an infectious host coming up. That'll decrease the value on the future codexes. In this matchup, we are really trying to be the host with the most. We take them all, we give them right back. All right, so I normally would take Tunic Counter and swing here, but because of frailty, I just don't think it's worth it. Hamstring. That's the Team Magnolia tech right there. I do want to deny the Ponder if at all possible, but I'm just not sure how realistic that is. It's very realistic because he has Tunic Counter. It doesn't matter if this is a 1 cost or a 0 cost. He can fire all 3, which means I'm very unlikely to pull off any kind of exchange. Let's see. It's actually kind of weird here. We definitely want to block the hamstring shot for 5-on-5. There's no easy way to do it. It's probably going to be grass band, sink blow. And then we're more than likely going to bramble into the E-strike for 7, arsenal the host, wait for an opportunity there. So therefore we'll hold back. This is a little bit faster than I would like to play the matchup, but we do give crown up here because we just get so much value here. I wouldn't say so much, but I mean, we box for 3. That's pretty good value, I've heard. And we don't really want to sink anything. We have a pretty good hand. This also prevents us from being beat up by drill shots from here on out. We are going to give the sink blow. Then because we have Tunic Counter, our game plan is fuse, go again, sink the Autumn's Touch, and Rosetta. That gives us 2 more damage than just E-striking for 10. Usually I don't like to play E-strike go again. Usually it's like mad inefficient. But with Tunic Counter, I think it makes it worth it. This will be 8-1 plus 4-4 behind it, and then we have one of the best targets in Arsenal for this match. We wait for them to present any type of frailty, and we just send it. Blood Rot Pox, it's not as easy. You don't just always take those because you have to look at the exchange. You're basically taking the on hit to give it back, which effectively there's no value in that. All you're effectively doing is speeding up the game, which could be the correct play. It could not. You just have to analyze the situation where it stands and make the decision whether you're trying to speed it up or slow it down. But frailty, oh, you always give it to him. Always. Always. Also, if anybody's liking the Briar play, while this person's thinking, if you want a way to reduce the odds of bricking while playing things like Runeblade, the very first stream I ever did, I went over a card counting strategy to reduce that variance. You should definitely go check it out. I think it's a great tool it's allowed me to put up good, consistent results playing a rather inconsistent deck. He's thinking hard on this one. It's just an E-strike. It's just an E-strike. I'm going to ask the same question for anybody that wasn't in here earlier. In chat, if you don't mind, let me know if your area that you're local to is having more or less RTNs this year than last year. If you wouldn't mind putting that in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm just curious. I've been noticing a lower amount in my area, and a bunch of other people earlier said that. I don't think anybody said more or the same. I think everybody said less. I'm just trying to get a grasp on like what it is that's doing it or why. So with one card, he can definitely shoot something here, like he chose to do. That is a-okay. Seems like the best option is probably just to nimble into the snatch. We got sharded. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, 2 RTNs normal. Okay, so same for you. Live in Brazil, so we're having our first RTN season. I hope you guys enjoy it. I remember back when Monarch came out and like the whole American community as a whole just like shifted to like CC. I'm gonna go ahead and snap here. Life total's getting a little low, and he's taking this for a reason. So 3 of a kind might push the life totals real low. So I'm going to extract value while I can. I don't want this actually. Life totals are too low, and it's gonna be a liability. So we're just gonna get 4 value out of it. Hong Kong had 4 last year, 8 this year. They needed it though. Hong Kong, their RTN last year. Literally, the signups only lasted, I'm not exaggerating, chat, like 18 seconds. I kid you not. We practice with those guys all the time, and they were saying that in like 18 seconds, all their slots filled. So Hong Kong needed more bad. Yep, we knew the 3 of a kind was coming to change the speed of the game. Thankfully, he pitched a red, although he probably has a blue, just he's not going to be able to play that anyway. So that's actually a good play. The closest RTNs are 3 hours away except one. Jesus. More in the Philly area. Interesting. Okay. Pitched another red, although it's once again another card he can't use. But this is his second Rain Razors 3 of a kind, so he's pulled off 2 of them. Good on him. To be honest though, I'm just gonna try and get a read, because if he can't kill me, then I'm gonna kill him. Is how this is gonna work. Because I normally, but so because I have a hand that's lining up perfect, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, okay, my knee-jerk reaction is to exude for 10, go again, then 17. For the clap back. But if he presents something that's actually worrisome, like a endless air or something, we'll default to blocking it, and that's okay. So we are going to take this. It's just damage. And we haven't seen an endless yet, I don't think. Speak of the devil. It's like I knew it was coming. So we'll give up the channel here. And we'll go back to playing the value game. Just go boop. Keep that bad boy in arsenal. We still have 1 block in the tunic. His power cards are almost used up. He pulled off 2. So 2 rain razors, 1 3 of a con gone. He blocked with CNC. That's fine. We get the embodiment. We have a total of a bajillion block. Arctic incarceration. We get blown out here. Actually. He elected go again. See, this is actually a tough choice. I think we actually have to dump for a blue here. I think we have to. Because if we don't draw the blue, we can't maintain the embodiment. We're on the back foot, which means we probably lose. So I'm going to very inefficiently actually, it doesn't matter because we already have. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. We get blown out. It's unfortunate, but we keep the cards that block very well and go about it. Force them to play it. This is actually super unfortunate here. It's actually good and bad because we clear the frostbite by playing the sink blow, which means if he doesn't play this, which this doesn't have go again, it's very unlikely, then we get to 0 for 4 and maintain the embodiment. So as bad as this is, it's actually pretty okay. Just gotta maintain embodiment. And as long as he's showing this card face up in arsenal, we are just going to block. Down to 1 card, which is 0 for 4. If he plays it, we won't play it, and we'll just arsenal it. Go about our day. Kind of plays into our game plan anyway. This is one of the cards of like why you can't race Lexi with Briar is you just get shut down so hard if they ever catch you. Okay, so withering we don't care about. We're not planning on swinging swords, so we'll take this one. Let's see what's coming. Okay, we have an endless. We do want to block that one. Yep. So we just arsenal the attack. We probably lose this one, if I had to guess. We are ever so behind. Not sure what he would have after this, but I think we have to go ahead and give him, because we can't eat this and that. Yeah. Sure. It's a pretty game-winning play right there. GG. Very well played. Very well played. Yeah, that Arctic incarceration kind of got us at the wrong moment. We had back-to-back all red hands. We couldn't like play the whole, oh, you better play it. And he just played it out when it was convenient for him. So very, very well played. What matchups are the worst for Briars? So I would say Icelander. Icelander is probably the worst matchup. Other than that, Azalea can be very rough. Lexi's actually not that bad. It's. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and be a Dromire Guardian player and say, oh yeah, it's free. No. I would say it's probably like 50-50. So yeah. Other than that, like everything else is fine. Yeah, like it's really Icelander and the Rangers a little bit. Azalea more so because you can make value trades against Lexi. Azalea kind of tells you when you can and can't is the problem. But that is going, sorry, Justin, that is going to be all the games I got in me today. If anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to ask them in the chat or at Meow. Hope everybody enjoyed the stream. Is the Icelander boarding just bringing in Shock Charmers and Helm? So, yes, you bring in the Helm and Shock Charmers. If you know their Bullander, Grasp is actually better than Shock Charmers, but it's just a hedge either way. And then you bring in the blue in lieu of Come to Fight. You take out the Come to Fight, or Earthor Surge, sorry. You put in the 2 Come to Fights and the blue, the extra blue, and take out the 3 red Earthor Surges. And the reason is if they give you a Frostbite, the cost curve of Earthor Surge, attack, Sword Swing doesn't work. But it works with Come to Fight. Because the Come to Fight costs 1. So for Icelander, you put in the equipment, keep Grasp if you know they're Bullander, and you put in these 3, the blue, the 2 Come to Fights, and take out the 3 red Earthor Surge. That's the Icelander. Anybody got anything else? Once again, if you are one of the 57 people that walked up to me over this past weekend and said thank you for the content, that you really enjoyed it, thank you so much for doing that. It means the world. Makes doing this even easier. Um, it was great chatting with everybody, catching up, seeing everybody. Um, really one of the best weekends in Flesh and Blood for sure, for me personally. So if that's all everybody has, I'm not seeing anything in chat. Can you link the deck list? Sure. Absolutely. There you go. The list in chat. We went 6-1 today. We played 3 Lexis, and Azalea, Dromine, and Azuri. Right? That's pretty good. 6-1 against that. We take it. We take it. I'm not sure why the link is not showing up. Maybe it has it where links don't show up. So what I'll do is, if you're not already in the Discord, hop into our Discord. Link is in the description, and PM me, and I will send you the list, or I'll just post it in there. Either one. We will find a way to get you that list. Sorry about it. Will you be trying Team Poland's Katsu anytime soon? If I'm being honest, if Oldham is around, I don't think I will. There's nothing that Katsu offers. I would rather just play Fuseless Lexi, if I'm being honest. Is what it ultimately boils down to. If you want to play that style of deck, I mean, Fuseless Lexi is just so consistent, right? And you just accidentally draw 3 of a kind or Rain Razors, and it's just like so much value. Codex is a hell of a card. I just don't see the like. Imagine your Katsu hand, and you have like, because Katsu, you have to run a lot less blues. Lexi gets to run more blues and yellows and stuff like that, whereas Katsu has to be a lot more streamlined to be viable. And if you don't draw what you need, if you have a lot of combat tricks, then you add more inconsistencies to the deck. And if you don't, you're not getting the on-hit effects that you need. Is what ultimately it comes down to. So I think Katsu will be relevant again, like really relevant, when there is a meta where nobody wants to block again. I think that's where we'll see the Katsu kick up. Right now, there's too many on-hit effects. People are more than willing to block. People are running D-reacts out the wazoo. Just doesn't seem like the right time. There's nothing that Katsu offers that Lexi doesn't. A slightly better Dromon match, but for a way worse Oldham match, like that doesn't make sense. Yeah, Katsu's not terrible. He doesn't offer something that nobody else does. Not right now. But once again, thanks everybody for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Thanks everybody for being here. If there's anything that you want to see, particularly in the streams that I'm not currently doing, or a subject that you want me to talk about, I'm more than open for ideas. As long as it's something that I feel like I can talk about it well. I don't want to like shoot from the hip or anything like that, but I want to make sure that anything I put in front of you guys are is of a decent value, at least, if not a great value. Um, but yeah, thanks everybody for joining me tonight, and hope everybody has a good rest of their night. And